How is it going, guys? My name is Wanzi Burnett, and welcome to my TBU Week 2 Team Builder analysis against SinisterSableye and Saint Louis Chatots. Basically, yeah, the team you're going to see on screen for him is incorrect at the moment because I don't have, basically since this match he's changed his team. So you'll see, I don't know if it's what, yeah, I think you'll see, instead of Hooper Confined, you'll see Skunk Tank or something. Well, he hasn't updated his thing properly, but yeah, basically, after last week's awful game where Wanzi Swagnet ended up losing to Trip because Wanzi Swagnet is an idiot, basically, we're going to have to try and redeem ourselves here against BabyEye, and he has really improved a lot since Season 1, I've heard. He's an incredible battler, and he's got a pretty scary team, one that kind of does a lot of work against us, but a lot of teams do a lot of work against us, and this team, this draft this season, is making me learn that I can't always try and think what stops what, because I have got to think offensively instead of defensively, and that doesn't really ever work out well for me because I always draft defensive teams and then always end up getting a load of defensive cores and then thinking how I can use those cores to stop the opponent's team. But that match with Trip last week really taught me that I need to start thinking more offensively when I team build. So I really need to start thinking about how I can take the opponent down rather than stopping the opponent from taking me down, if that makes any sense at all. Anyways, the team he has and the team that he can pick from is not what will be on screen, but the team will be Mega Pinsir, Heatran, Starmie, Conkeldurr, Haxorus, Skuntank, which it will be, Sandslash, Gramble, and Zebstrika. Now you'll see on the screen it says Hooper Confined. Let's just pretend Hooper Confined is Skuntank because I'm too lazy to edit something in, and the Wanzi Swagnet won't really care about it either. So basically, yeah. The team I'm bringing is very, very offensive orientated, and looking at his team, he has a Mega Pinsir that I have 0 switches into. 0. Absolute 0. The only thing I had that was even going to attempt to become a switch in, I believe, was a physically defensive Garchomp, and even that is 1 hit / 2 hit KO'd at level 1 +2 by a Mega Pinsir. So I changed my game plan completely and decided to build my team around getting rocks up as soon as I can, because I need to threaten that Mega Pinsir away and keep it off the field, because as soon as that thing's off the field, while that thing is threatened away, I have a chance. I have a massive chance, and I'm really worried about this match because he has such offensive presence against me that it scares me. However, I think that this week our team is going to be Sneasel, Nidoking, Lantern, Mega Latias, Garchomp, and Meloetta, and I will talk through the reasons right now. So our first mon on the team, as last week, is obviously Sneasel, because I feel like Sneasel it really puts in work against a lot of opponents' teams, because it's fast, it has knockoff, it has good coverage, good stuff, good things, and it can really, really dent a lot of teams. Like, there's a Starmie there that I can hit with a knockoff, there's a Haxorus there that I can Ice Shard, Ice Cold Crash, it possibly could have been a Roserade I could have done the same to, there's a Mega Pinsir I can Ice Shard, there's a Gramble that I can Poison Jab, I can outspeed the majority of his team outside of a speed tie with Starmie and a Zebstrika, which outspeeds me by 1 base point, which is very annoying. But yeah, I can do a lot of damage to his team with this thing. And I kind of want to bluff a Focus Sash, because if I can bluff a Focus Sash, it means that he's going to be hesitant to hit me with any kind of move until he's got chip damage off, because he doesn't want to waste a turn hitting me. So I've added the Muscle Band on for a little bit extra power, because the power boost it gives is not too obvious, and it's not enough that it would make you instantly think, oh, well, that's not Focus Sash. Like, if I go for a knockoff on something and it does like an extra 2%, 3%, 4%, 5%, 10%, 10%, a little bit more, it's not going to be evidently noticeable. It's not going to be something that's instantly going to make you think, oh, that's going to be a scarf, or that's going to be offensive. Like, most people don't pick up on Muscle Band very quickly. Like, the one thing that taught me about Muscle Band was Shroom Raver running it on his Victini last season, which really caught me off guard. But anyway, Muscle Band is a good item for this, and the moves I've gone with are Knock Off, Icicle Crash, Poison Jab, and Ice Shard. And the reason for Poison Jab is so I can hit Ground Ball for some kind of super effective damage and do some damage, and possibly pick it off if it gets weak and has to switch into 2. So yeah, Sneasel puts in work, and the only things that I have to worry about are... oh my god. Oh my god, I've just been scared. Someone just walked up behind me and tapped me on the shoulder, and that's just completely terrified me. Anyway, let's get back into this. The only things I have to be worried about here are a Mach Punch from Conkeldurr, Heatran being possibly physically defensive and doing damage, obviously there's Ground Ball switching in, and yeah, Sneasel puts in work. I've gone with Jolly over Adamant because I can outspeed the majority of his team that way. The next one I've gone with is Nidoking, and Nidoking kind of does a lot of work here, so I'm just going to get up his team again because he keeps going away, which is annoying. But yeah, Nidoking puts in a lot of work here because I can outspeed everything on his team barring Scarfers with a Scarf. I have Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Ice Beam, and Stealth Rock because I didn't really feel like having Thunderbolt was really necessary on this team because obviously with a Scarf mon, you're locked into one move, and if I go for like a Thunderbolt to hit the Starmie, and that just gives him a free switch into Sand Slash to Earthquake and do things and stuff, and I don't want to be giving people too much chances to get free switches against this team because I don't have switches in to counteract that at all. Like, I would have nothing for an offensive Sand Slash if it got a free switch in after I'd killed a Starmie. So I need to be very careful, and I've gone with Stealth Rock because it gives me another option to get it up on the field. My main option will be Garchomp, but that is for later. Now, I've gone with Max Speed, Max Special Attack, because that allows me to speed tie, and there was a reason for it. I think it allows me to outspeed Skuntank by 1 point, because Skuntank has a base 84 speed, I believe. It allows me to outspeed Skuntank if it's Scarf, even though it wouldn't really matter too much if it's Sucker Punch anyway. But Scarf Skuntank could be a thing that comes. I don't know BabyEye as a player too much, but I know he could possibly bring that, and I feel like Earth Power, Sludge Wave, and Ice Beam, with that combination, I just eat the rest of his team, barring Starmie if it's specially defensive. But let's face it, specially defensive Starmie in this game would be kind of stupid, considering my next Pokemon I have is this guy, Squishy, the Lantern. And Lantern here kinda is really quite worrying, because I've gone with full specially defensive, with max HP, max Spadef, with a bit in physical def, with Heal Bell, Volt Switch, Scald, and Dazzling Gleam. Now, Scald and Volt Switch hit the majority of his team for at least neutral damage, but no, the only thing it doesn't is Haxorus, and if that Haxorus is Lumberry, it gets a free switch in, and it can really hurt me. So, with the EVs I've got, I can live any move that a Haxorus wants to throw at me, outside of possibly Choice Band, and I can hit it with a Dazzling Gleam, doing a bit of damage, and that's part of a 2-turn strategy for later on in the match. So, yeah, I have a plan for Haxorus, and I'll show you how it works later on. But basically, yeah, Dazzling Gleam is there for Haxorus and Conkeldurr if that thing wants to try and come in and do some damage, because I can go for a Dazzling Gleam instead of a Scald, having to risk a Guts boost. But yeah, this thing basically completely hard counters Starmie. Starmie cannot touch it. The only thing Starmie can even do to it is try to burn me, but I have Heal Bell, so Lantern just shuts down Starmie, which otherwise really hurts my team. Like, it can just really hurt the rest of my team. It kills Nidoking and Latias and Garchomp, and it hurts Cascada, who you'll see there. But yeah, this guy I feel like is going to be a major player, because every time Starmie comes in, free switch, and quite frankly, I outspeed Ground Ball, I outspeed a lot of other things that could possibly want to be coming in, such as Conkeldurr, and I can just completely gain momentum with this guy. So that is awesome. That is completely awesome. But yeah, my next mon is actually Latias. Now, I was actually considering not bringing Latias this game, because Latias didn't really have anything in particular it wanted to do. But then I looked at his team, and I looked at Latias' special attack and its speed, and I thought, you know what? I feel like offensive Mega Latias, like fully 3 attacks recover, actually really hurts him, because if you look at the mons he does have, we'll get them back up because my thing is stupid. Basically, if you look at what he does have, I completely hurt everything on that team. Everything on the team gets hurt by this, apart from Assault Vest Skuntank. But even if he does bring Skuntank, I have ways of dealing with it. See Garchomp, see Nidoking. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if you look at this team, Surf hits Heatran, Thunderbolt hits Starmie and Mega Pinsir, and Psychic just hits the rest for neutral damage apart from Skuntank. So it really hurts a lot of his team, and it stops him, it pretty much just can clean up if I can take out his threats late on, because this guy hits like a truck and has recover and is bulky enough to take hits. So I felt like that was probably the best Latias I could bring for this game, because I can't really set up because of Conk. Well, I could set up because of Conk, but I would really struggle against stuff like Mega Pinsir, which could switch in and possibly threaten me out, and I wouldn't be able to kill with a Psychic, which I would be having to run because I would be running Calm Mind or something, so I wasn't really left with a lot of options, but the immediate power that this thing has is enough. Now, the EVs I have here are enough to outspeed everything on his team, barring Zebstrika and Starmie, without having to compromise. It's enough to outspeed Mega Pinsir by 1 point, so that's nice because it allowed me to put a little bit more into HP, which also gave me, if I believe, an odd HP stat, which was also very nice. But the next dragon we have is probably the most important player on the team. Garchomp over here is literally probably the most important player on this team, because Rough Skin, Red Card, Stealth Rock, and Raw. My plan is to lead with this Garchomp, get rocks up as early as possible, because his only rapid spin will be Sand Slash, and that thing doesn't really have a lot it can want to switch in on, apart from a Scarfed Thunderbolt or Sludge Wave from, but I don't have Thunderbolt on Nidoking, but a Scarf Sludge Wave from Nidoking is the only thing that Sand Slash even wants to try and come in on. So, the plan for this guy, I get rocks up as early as I can. Once they're up, his job becomes, it becomes fodder. So, the plan is, if Mega Pinsir decides to come in, I know that I can, this is probably quite silly, but I know that Garchomp is pretty much going to be fodder to one of 2 mons, Mega Pinsir or Haxorus. And the reason Haxorus could be a problem is because Haxorus can kind of switch in on Lantern. So Haxorus switches in on Lantern, it sets up a DD, Lantern goes for Dazzling Gleam as it goes for a DD. At that point, I switch out into Garchomp. Now, Garchomp can take a +1 Earthquake from a Haxorus, activating its red card, getting rid of its Dragon Dance, switching it out into a Pokemon of my choosing, which could be, say, Gramble, it could be, say, Starmie, it could be anything. And if it's Starmie, I get a free switch back into Lantern, and I get the ability, it just completely wins me back the momentum, because if I have rocks up and Haxorus goes for Earthquake, Mega Pinsir could come out, take 50% damage, anything could come out and would, like, say if Gramble comes out, I have the potential to Iron Head it. If what else? If Sand Slash comes out, I deal a hefty chunk of damage with Earthquake, / roar it out, / whatever. So it's really quite interesting how this Garchomp's going to work out. Now, it works against Mega Pinsir because if I switch in Mega Pinsir, if he switches in Mega Pinsir and he can take me out with, like, say, 1 move on his thing, and I go into Garchomp, if I switch in Garchomp on, like, say, a return or a quick attack or something that's meant to switch something out, I switch that thing straight back on out, it goes away and leaves. So Garchomp is pretty much going to be kind of a little bit of a tricksy bastard. So yeah, that's going to be a thing. And I gave him enough speed to outspeed a Haxorus, and that's a thing. So yeah, that's Garchomp. He's going to be taking a hit and dealing rough skin and stuff. So that's awesome. And we finally move on to my last one, which is Cascada the Meloetta. So, Meloetta here, Calma Berry, because I learnt my lesson against that Mew last week. And I feel like he has a Conk, which I can switch into. I've gone fully physically defensive with T-Wave, U-Turn Psychic, and Hyper Voice. Now, this girl here can take a knockoff from Conk, doing about 20%. It doesn't do much at all. And it also allows me to be able to then hit it with a super effective Psychic. Its Drain Punches won't be doing too much. I can take pretty much anything that Conk wants to do at that point and hit it with a Psychic. So this thing is pretty much just Conk switching. Even if Conk doesn't come, it's still a Meloetta that's physically defensive, so you can switch into a Ground Ball player right now with Psychic. All of that goodness, all of that good stuff. And Thunder Wave, because I love Thunder Wave and getting speed control. So yeah, that's a thing. But yeah guys, that's the thing, that's my team. And that's what we're going to see. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed the match, which will be up tomorrow at 9 or 7. No, we'll go 7. It will be up tomorrow at 7. So look forward to that. At 7 PM at my time, my match against BabyEye will be going live, and we'll be seeing how we did. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a great day and a great life. See you later.